What's going on, everybody? It's your boy. Oh, damn. My bad. I gotta go. Sorry. Give me a second. Give me a second. My bad. I had some tea on. Forgot it was on. Hope y'all can hear me. Hope I ain't talking. Let me check real quick. Audio. Seems like it's coming through. That's playing. All right, cool. So I was looking at this video. Sam Shamoun, Halal Hogan is Sam Shamoun's one of his internet personas, if you will. But he was on this channel with patristic pillars. And I say because I was bored for the first point, and then he started talking about why he worships and why he worships and why he worships Mary, if you will. Let me change this. Let me change the layout real quick. Hold on, real quick. Hold on. Come on, baby. Yes, sorry. What's going on? Excuse me. Give me a second. I'm sweating like a stuffed pig. Oh, that's gonna go over. Where is the thing? Oh yeah, that worked. Cool. All right, cool. All right, we're all good now. All right, because we're 9 a.m, bro. We on my channel, Symbol of Peace. So Symbol of Peace here. You know what I mean? Your boy Apostle Jack. I'm the symbol of peace. You feel me? Well, actually, Jesus is a symbol of peace, but no, I'm representing him. So, you know what I mean? All right. So this is the channel. I'm going to be interjecting Sam's fallacies, if you will, periodically. So take a listen.
stream our Mariology one. Or check out the past shows we've done on the topic. We've done debates and shows, even on the Syriac Fathers on both topics. But yeah, if you got a question about purgatory or prayer for the dead?
I could try to kind of tie one in, but I don't think it really does tie in because of the assumption. Just prayers. For of
Are you
intercession to
a
Mary.
new convert? You a new convert?
I am. I'm going
Okay.
through the sacraments currently, but I mean, I've studied. Actually, William and Sam watching you all got me on fire for the faith to
Praise the Lord.
join. Yeah. Sam's got me blocked on his channel. I think it was
This is just for clarity. I believe that every last one of these people is some form of Orthodox Catholic. I know Sam is, but I believe these two are as well. And the fact that he said sacraments, I believe he's in Catholicism as well. Damn it, my bad. Give me a second.
another accidental.
You
Yeah,
too.
I don't know why I'm
Blocked
yeah.
on
I don't know why I'm blocked, but I
You
am.
guys, if you send me your links to YouTube channel on Skype, I got more people on my block list than subscribers. So, but
I got a lot too, and I just don't have the time to go through all of them. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
yeah,
maybe
you want to make it a Mary prayer kind of question?
not I guess okay, so maybe something that I have thought about. Why the rosary? Why Hail Marys? Why is Mary the easiest way to Jesus?
Okay.
As far as prayers to those that have passed on, because she's not dead, obviously. But
I love these questions.
Can you take that one? So we can hop in after. Go ahead. You go after something.
So, Dun 6-4, the Hail Mary, it's very, very ancient. I don't know if you've looked into the history of it. It dates to before even the schisms. It's very, very early. Besides the biblical basis,
it ain't first century,
which
it ain't
it's biblical.
No, it's not.
Biblical.
No, it's not.
It actually comes from the East. It's not even a Latin thing. Right. Saint Severus of Antioch, he had it in the baptism rite.
That's correct. Yep.
Yeah, that sounds like Didache. That sounds like second, third century. That's not first century.
So that's number one. Number one, you're getting something that has a Catholic, meaning universal, unanimous. All the traditions have it. The Greeks, the Syriacs, the Latins. We all have this. You're getting it from all of us. Number one. Number two, the devotions particular to your rite. So say if you're a Latin Catholic, you have the rosary. That's a devotion particular to your rite that you're in. This is the way in the growth of holiness according to your rite. It's just
according to your rite, not according to Torah, not according to Scripture. Now he's going to try and back it up with Scripture, but he's going to fail miserably. Watch.
It's particularity to that tradition, but the universality is the prayer itself. Yeah. Which is the Hail Mary is something that's attested to by everybody.
Yeah, it's not.
All right. So, okay. Now, when you say why her, let me walk you through this, brother.
Mm-hmm. It's not even first, second.
You're going to see why we love her so much and why I thank the Lord that Spirit kept convicting me and would not give up on me until I saw the fullness of the truth from the Scriptures. It's because of the Scriptures. Now, Jesus is the last Adam, right? You with me there, brother?
Yes.
Okay, now follow the logic. You may have to unmute yourself to follow me. The first Adam, the woman came out of him, and she was flesh of his flesh, bone of his bones, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Now, Jesus is the last Adam. He's the greater Adam, correct?
Yes.
And yet the last Adam came out of the woman, and so he is flesh of her flesh, bone of her bones.
No.
Right.
Okay, so you understand the honor there because you're saying right, but I don't think it's sunk in.
No. I understand that you're saying that now.
Can you repeat it, Sam?
Last Adam, the greater Adam, is flesh of her flesh,
no,
bone of her bones.
It doesn't say that.
The first Adam, the woman, was flesh of his flesh, bone of his bones. But the one who's greater and superior, he is the flesh of Mary's flesh, bone of Mary's bone.
Eisegeting into Scripture.
Meaning that Mary gives the last Adam his flesh and body, showing her greatness in that it's her flesh that becomes his flesh, It's her bones that becomes his bones. It's her blood that becomes his blood. And that's the flesh that he uses to undo the sin of Adam.
Right.
Okay, so.
All right, first point, right? So you take this. Who was the first to sin? Was it Adam or was it the woman? It was the woman. The woman was the first to sin. The woman was the one that was beguiled. She sinned first, and she gave it to her husband to eat, and then he ate, right? So the woman messed up first, right? That's the first thing, right? Not trying to be misogynistic or anything, but the fact that he's giving Mary so much credit, a human who is sinful, right? So much credit to say that Mary is held in esteem because of her flesh was so pure. If her flesh was so pure, she could have went to Calvary and resurrected, and God would have resurrected her because of her obedience. But it didn't happen that way. So let's continue.
You understand the greatness of that, that the greater Adam, the last Adam, who undoes the sin of the first Adam, becomes flesh from the woman, whereas in the case of the first woman, she became flesh from the first man, right?
Right. I understand the logic of where it's coming from. Right.
Now, let's take it a step further. Not only is the last Adam flesh of her flesh, he is the fullness of God, Yahweh, the God of Israel, in all his fullness, in her womb for 9 months. You understand the honor that she's given to carry the God of Israel, the God of creation.
That is an honor, and that's where that should cease. The fact that she carried God in the flesh, that's where that should cease. That's to delivery. Boom, cool. You're normal. Like, you were given an honor, right, to carry God in the flesh. Yes, you are a Messiah, right? You were given an honor. That doesn't give you divine authority or any other special kind of treatment. You were chosen for a specific task, and boom. We don't worship or pray to Moses because he led the children out of Israel. No, God did that, bro. Like, come on now.
God of heaven and earth, the God of angels, the Father's equal, the eternal command of the Spirit, and all his fullness in her beautiful, consecrated, glorious womb.
She's a woman. She's human.
Okay, that's the second. Thirdly, understand her greatness in that it was a virgin woman that ate of a forbidden tree. And
also not true. That's one of the, let me show you that actually. Go to the Book of Jubilees. So I'm coming off of a battle with some colds and stuff, so it's kind of hard to breathe and talk at the same time. So I've got some tea, so it can kind of soothe all that out. Give me a second. Book of Jubilees. Because he's going to have this as a staple for why he believes what he believes, but it is actually given. It's actually written in the Book of Jubilees, which is a part of what he said, the Eastern, right, Orthodox, the Ethiopian Tewahedo Bible, right, Eastern tradition, where he says Hail Mary comes from, actually, right. So this book is a part of their Bible where it states that Adam and Eve actually had sexual relations before God brought them into the garden. So it wasn't a virgin woman who ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Second, sorry, told you. All right, let me share this tab instead. Magnify. All right, so first of all, Adam nor Eve were created in Eden. They were created outside of Eden, and they were brought into Eden after the days of their purification, where we get the Levitical laws of purification. You know, nothing new under the sun. All right, so boom, 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 boom. He waked Adam out of the sea. He awoke the sixth day, and he brought her to him. And Adam and Eve weren't even created on the same day or the same. They were created on the same day, but not in the same week. Adam was created on the sixth day of the first week. He was created on the sixth day of the second week. And he waked Adam out of his sleep. And on awaking, he rose on the sixth day. He brought her to him, and he knew her. He said to her, "Now this is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, my wife, because she is taken from her husband. Therefore shall man be one. Therefore shall man leave his wife, leave his father and mother, and cleave to his wife, and they shall be one flesh." And in the first week was Adam created in the rib of his wife. In the second week, he showed her unto him, and the reason and the commandment to keep their defilement in male and male twice in 7 days, and had completed the 40 days in the land he had been created. We brought him into the garden to till and keep it, but his wife was brought on the 80th day, and after this she entered into the Garden of Eden. And for this reason, the commandment is written in the heavenly tablets: if she bear a male child, it should be 40 days. She should be unclean for 40 days. She brings a female child, she should be unclean for 80 days. And when she had completed the 80 days, we brought her into the Garden of Eden, for it is holier than all the earth besides every tree in the holy. And it was ordained that who bears a male child, male or female child, the statute they should touch no hollow thing, nor to the sanctuary till the days of their female child were accomplished. Boom. Here you go. Boom, 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 boom. So they always take this as, therefore, therefore shall man and wife be one, and therefore shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and they shall be one. They take that as Protestants and everyone take that as is universally known, to use Catholic as he just did, that is the commencement of them having sexual relations. Huh? See, there you go. And here's, I was looking for this. I am sweating for no reason. I don't know why. All right. And he awaked Adam out of his sleep. And on awaking, he rose on the 6th day. And he brought her to him, and he knew her. And he said unto her, he knew her, then he said unto her, they had sex before they went into Eden. Proven. Thank you.
Gave birth to death. Mm-hmm. But then here comes a virgin woman whose fruit of her womb, remember Luke 1:42 in the rosary, ties in with the rosary, blessed is the fruit of your womb. She gives birth to the salvation and the antidote of death, in that the fruit
so
of...
he's going to conflate this later on, so I'm just going to jump the gun on it because I've already listened to this, but he's going to conflate this with Genesis 3:15. But Genesis 3:15, the prophecy of the woman having the seed of the woman crushing the seed of the serpent, right? It doesn't say the fruit of the woman is going to crush the seed of the serpent. It says the seed of the woman is going to crush the seed of the serpent. And this is profound because women don't have seed. You catch that? Men have seed. Women have eggs. We insert our seed into women. But women doesn't have seed. So obviously it's talking about a virgin birth, right? The seed of the woman will crush the seed of the serpent. You will bruise his heel, but he will crush your head. So it isn't talking about the fruit of the woman will crush the seed of the serpent. It says the seed. You can't conflate the terms, man, because the seed and fruit aren't the same thing.
Her womb hangs on the tree, so that now you eat of that fruit from that tree.
Right, because if you're implying that the fruit of the woman, right, is the salvation, then you're juxtaposing a context into the scripture that is not making, and because you're saying that we have fruit, like the fruit of our works, that's ours, that belongs to us. Like if I go and feed the homeless, that's a good work that produces fruit, which I'm supposed to do according to Torah. That's my fruit. No one can take that from me. I did that, right? I followed the instructions of God, and I did that, right? So what you're saying is the fruit of the woman is salvation, meaning that Mary bore salvation herself, like boom, like her seed produced salvation. And if that's the case, then there would be no need for Jesus to perform all the miracles, and no need for Jesus to preach the gospel of the kingdom. There's no need for him to go to Calvary, and there's no need for him to resurrect. If just her giving birth to the Messiah was all that was required. It doesn't make any sense.
To undo the poisonous, deadly effects of what the first woman did. What do I mean? because Jesus is the fruit of Mary's womb. And if you read Acts 5:30 or Acts 10:39 or Acts 13:29, let me repeat it again. Acts 5:30, Acts 10:39, Acts 13:29, Galatians 3:13, I can't read them all. And 1 Peter 2:24. It says Jesus hung on a tree.
What? What?
Do you understand the implication, or you don't get
it?
it?
You're about to conflate some stuff.
I think he's on mute, brother.
No, yeah, wow.
There you go.
Yeah. That's
Go on.
I didn't that's
it says Jesus hung on a tree in those verses.
Here's the problem with this. The fruit that the woman ate, it wasn't her fruit. The fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, that didn't come from the woman. That's the problem with this. He's conflating ideas to try to be prophetic. Itching ears. So the fruit that came from Mary's womb, right? Cool. Right? But Jesus hanging on a tree has nothing to do with the fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. It was deemed a curse because God knew that Jesus would be hanging from across a pole, a tree wood, right? And it was necessary for him to hang on a tree because he was sinless. He had to become a curse to take away a curse, which was death. The fruit isn't death. Us eating the fruit ushered death into the world. Not the fruit itself. The fruit by itself hanging on a tree does nothing. It was there. God made that and it was good when he made it. Us eating of that without his permission, without his direct consent to eat it, that's what brought death into the world. Continue.
right.
But notice what's hanging on a tree. The fruit of Mary, meaning the first woman ate a forbidden fruit and gave birth to death. The woman who gives birth to the last Adam, it is her fruit from her beautiful womb that hangs on a tree, making that the tree of life. And it's that fruit that you eat from her that undoes what the first.
No, fool. He said the fruit, Jesus hanging on the tree, the cross, and making not the tree of life. No, the tree of life is in Eden. It never left. The tree of life is in Eden. The tree of knowledge of good and evil is still in Eden. It never left. It's still there. Well, we have to eat of the tree of life. That's the reason why they were kicked out of the garden. So they wouldn't eat from the tree of life after sinning and eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That's the exact reason. They weren't kicked out for sinning. They were kicked out so they wouldn't eat from the tree of life and live forever in their sin.
And eating the forbidden fruit of the forbidden tree.
And everything Sam is saying, it's not like he's making it up.
Oh, yeah.
This is all explicitly, you find it in Saint Ephraim and the Syriac.
Yes.
I didn't know that
You
either.
do.
I mean,
You do.
I don't have
They made it up.
all of these types that he's saying, all
They're
of
in
this,
Ephraim. Yep.
everything he's saying is exactly there. And
They're not in Jacob, brother. They're not in Jacob.
And Jacob. Yeah. The Ephraim and the early Syriac tradition in general. But Ephraim, because I'm biased towards him. But everybody, it's all there.
Hold on, let's see where the early Syriac tradition is. Let's see if that's anywhere near the first century. I promise you it's not. I don't even know. Let's just check. Syriac tradition. Excuse me. Syriac Christianity is a branch of Eastern Christianity of which formative theological writings and traditional liturgies are expressed in classical Syriac language and variation of Old Aramaic language, a wider sense. In a wider sense, the term can also refer to Aramaic Christianity. I need to know what year. Here we go. Christianity began in Near East, Jerusalem, among Aramaic-speaking Jews. It's a stretch because Paul spoke Hebrew and they spoke Hebrew in Acts 21-22. It soon spread to other Aramaic-speaking Semitic peoples like Aramaic pagan peoples along eastern Mediterranean coast, the Roman Empire. All right. The ruins of the Dura Europos church dating from the first half of the 3rd century are concrete evidence of the presence of Christian communities in Aramaic-speaking area of Jerusalem. So 3rd century, the closest it could date back is 3rd century. Here we go. Syriac Christianity is divided in several theological issues, both Christological and pneumatological. And 434, which is 5th century. In 434, the Council of Ephesus, which is reckoned to the 3rd Ecumenical Council, condemned Nestorius and Nestoriamus. I don't know what this is talking about. The condemnation was consequently ignored by the East Syriac Church of the East, which had been previously established in the Sassanian Empire. All right. So we have 3rd century, we have 5th century, we have 6th century. 7th century, so it's getting further away. None of this is 1st century. Then we have a schism 1550, 52, right? And we have Catholic Church, but later formed the nucleus of the present day Assyrian Church in the east of ancient East. In the Church of the East and ancient Church of the East, while at the end of the 18th century, most fathers of earlier patriarchate chose union with Rome and with some others. So this is all well after 1st and 2nd century tradition Babel. So let's go on and continue. As need to
know. You find also, notice John in the gospel when he says, if I write everything that is there, there wouldn't be enough room for all the books in the world.
Exactly.
But look, some of the things he tells us that is unique to his gospel. Why does he say it? Like in the resurrection, Mary, who's Mary Magdalene in this case, but the Syriac fathers say she's a type in the instance.
Right.
Virgin Mary. Why does she think that he's the gardener, and why is that important for John to tell us? Yeah, she thought he was the gardener. Because he is the gardener, we're back in the garden. You have the new Adam and the type of the new Eve, which is
You know what's ironic? You say that. I just did a series of Jesus in the Garden of Eden when I went through that. I didn't know that was a
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, I actually, because not only that, like you said, there were cherubim. That means at least 2 that guarded the way to the tree of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And yet you had 2 angels in the garden that appeared as men, right?
Incredible. Yeah.
So here's the connection with the Garden of Eden.
Mary in New York.
Death entered the world in a garden. The destruction of death entered the world in a
Death did not enter the world in the garden. That's why they were kicked out. They didn't die in the garden. They were kicked out so that they wouldn't die in the garden. And Mary Magdalene thought he was a gardener. Doesn't mean there's a garden nearby. He was buried in a ball tomb. Let's look at where Jesus was buried. And let's see if there's a garden nearby. I said the garden tomb. Okay. They have the garden tomb. I don't know how real this is because the stone rolled away. This will be more specific. Right? But let's just go and say that he was. This is just for the sake of the sake, say he was buried in a garden that had a tomb in it. Being mistaken for a garden, for a gardener, doesn't have the prophetic implications that they're saying that it does. Because Jesus was a carpenter. He wasn't a gardener by trade.
A garden, because Jesus destroyed death in the garden tomb.
He did not.
Wow.
Yeah, I did a series on this. I didn't know this was in the Fathers of, because again, I'm not well read in the Fathers. I'm a Johnny come lately. So I thank Jesus.
Because death isn't even destroyed yet. Jesus resurrected, but he still hasn't destroyed death. He's going to do that later. It's eschatology.
It's already there. That means I'm on the right path. I'm not
Because we still
deceiving myself. They see it.
Praise the Lord.
Already got me, Spirit's
And
working
other
in me.
people
But
still have
to help him see how great Mary is, I'm going to go a little further with you. Okay, brother?
Yeah, go for it, brother.
Okay.
Thank
Now,
you.
I want you to catch it. The fruit of the tree, right? Fruit of the tree that Eve ate. She was a virgin. How do we know a virgin? Because it says that Adam knew her after they were thrown out, and she got pregnant with Cain.
Just read it. That's when they had children. That's not when they had sex for the first time. Just read it. This is when they were created. They were outside. Adam and Eve were outside of the garden for 40 days together before they went into the garden. Eve was outside of the garden 40 plus days, more than Adam. But as soon as God presented the woman named Eve later to Adam, they got down. Here we go. And he awoke Adam out of his sleep. And on awakening, he rose on the 6th day. And he brought her to him. And he knew her. Sex. He is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, my wife. Because she was taken from her husband. Let's go. That's how you consummate a marriage through sex. No, I'm going to do that.
After they're thrown out. Genesis 4:1. That means while they were in the garden, she was a virgin, he was a virgin.
Mhm.
So a virgin woman ate forbidden fruit from a forbidden tree and brought death. Another virgin woman gives birth to the fruit of her womb, who hangs on a tree, and he is the remedy of death. He's a tree of life. Okay, but I'm going to make it
He is not
more connection with Mary. When God says to the serpent, I will put hatred between you.
He says, I'm the resurrection and the life. He doesn't say I'm the resurrection in the tree of life. The tree of life is in the kingdom, in the garden, in paradise. You have to eat from the tree of life. He is not the literal tree. He's a typology, a metaphor of the tree of life.
And the woman, and between your seed and her seed. Notice, he doesn't say the seed of man. Yeah. Seed of the woman, which is ironic and unique because all throughout Scripture,
I just brought this up.
People are said to be the seed of a man.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, Greg Stafford says something nasty about you in his live stream right now. You see that comment? Anyway, but anyways, you told me he's not a drug addict. Dude.
Well,
Sorry,
Greg Stafford, if he's got the guts, let Greg Stafford debate me.
No, he won't, brother. He won't
do it.
That's why I said. Anyway, I'm sorry, brother, because that tells you how sick this guy is. But he's pathetic. Let me come back to you, brother. Sorry. Say he wants to decide this. Now I want you to catch this. Notice seed of the woman. In the Bible, humans are said to be the seed of men. Here, uniquely, God says seed of the woman. Why? Because you're going to see how Eve is meant to be a picture of Mary. Because there is only one man who is truly the seed of a woman and not of a man. Jesus. Jesus had no earthly father, making him truly the seed of a woman.
Adam,
it was the woman
Eve
who gave birth to this seed without a man. So what God is saying about Eve becomes a picture of the greater woman, the greater virgin, who gives birth to the greater Adam, because he and he alone was the seed of a woman alone. Are you making the connection?
I actually heard you speaking about that before, and I used that point to refute someone
Oh,
in
good.
a debate that I had. That's really, yeah,
No,
that's really
But
poignant.
now let me get you a further point, though. Now, because it says, I want to put hatred between you and the woman, between your seed and her seed. He will bruise your head, you'll bruise his heel, right?
Right.
Now, the bruising, if a poisonous serpent bites your heel, you're going to die. It's a mortal wound, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because so now what's the imagery? The imagery is that the serpent is going to strike a mortal blow to the seed of the woman. But catch how it works. For the serpent to get close enough.
All right, so we have to go back. So what he's reading from is Genesis 3:15. And I'll pull it up so everybody can see it, just in case people are unaware of what this is. It's prophecy of the Messiah coming in all the way in the beginning. And it says, I will put enmity between you and the woman, between her offspring and your offspring and her offspring. He shall bruise your head. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. In King James version, it says, your seed and her seed, and you will bruise he shall crush your head, but you will bruise his heel. So the bruising isn't coming from what? Sorry, give me a second. Humans, I hope I was muted. Yeah, KJV says your seed, her seed. Sorry, so the bruising doesn't come from the serpent biting his heel. The bruising comes from him actually crushing the serpent's head. He crushed the serpent, this is a skull, crushed his head so hard it hurts. If you step your foot on somebody's head, somebody's skull, is going to hurt if you are not, even if you're practicing, it's still going to hurt to a certain degree, right? You have to build up calluses for that. But yeah, it's not coming from the snake biting him because it doesn't say that. So, but where he's about to go, just point this out. Sorry. Where he's about to go, he's about to give a prophecy of how this played out. So, the seed of the serpent is Hasatan Azazel, which is Azazel, which however you want to say it, which is the scapegoat in Day of Atonement sacrifice, which all sin is ascribed to, because Azazel convinced angels and men to sin with each other, right? And in creating seed of the serpent, which were the giants and Nephilim, which were, brought down, and then through mysticism and teaching men ways and all that, giants came again, like Nimrod. He became a giant through like science, pharmaceuticals, different things like growth hormones and that sort of thing. That Azazel would have taught the humans again, but not through sexual reproduction of angels and humans this time, just more science and roots and that sort of thing. Case in point, Nimrod. That's after the flood. Then we had giants, see Anakim, all those Og or Gog, whatever his name is, the dude, the 13-foot giant, numbers, those giants, the Israelites were afraid to go fight. Those are some more giants, right? Post-flood giants. Those are the seed of the serpent, right? And the 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 offspring or the ancestor of Yeshua, which would be David, defeated them. That was his mission. He was driving out the Nephilim. He defeated Goliath first, and he defeated his other 4 brothers. This was like his whole military campaign was about. When you got to read that in First, Second Samuel, and yeah. So all of that, right, is happening. So then what happens with David? David takes a stone, boop, hits Goliath in the head, cuts his head off with his own sword. Then he walks Goliath's head 20 miles to Jerusalem. And there wasn't a standing temple at this time because Solomon hadn't built the temple yet. He takes to a hill and he buries a head in the hill, right? And then 4,000 years later, or 2,000 years later from there, Jesus comes and he's crucified on a hill called Golgotha, which means the place of the skull, the place where David buried the head of Goliath, the Nephilim, the seed of the serpent. And the cross was, boom, placed on top of Goliath's head, boom, therefore fulfilling Genesis 3:15. The seed of the serpent, not the serpent, but the seed of the serpent. The seed of the woman is crushing the head of the seed of the serpent, right? But he's going to say that this is a typology for Mary and some other crap, which isn't true. He's going to say that Golgotha means that the heel looks like a skull. No, it's the place of the skull. And I can prove that. What does Golgotha mean? Goliath of Gath. Yes, Golgotha is the Aramaic name for the place of the skull. It refers to the site of Jesus' crucifixion, which is described in the 4 Gospels in the New Testament. Thank you. And in other interpretations, like Britannica, says skull-shaped heel, which isn't true because this is Latin, bald head, skull, right? It's said from Latin. It's not Latin, it's Aramaic. And in Aramaic, it means the place. So y'all can see. Britannica takes Golgotha from the Latin Vulgate, right? And it means, in Latin, it means skull-shaped hill. But the word isn't Latin in origin. The word is Aramaic in origin. And it means, right? Golgotha is the Aramaic name for the place of the skull. That's what it means, the place of the skull, not skull-shaped hill. The site of Jesus' crucifixion. So y'all can see, I ain't making nothing up. So here we go.
To the heel of the seed, that means now the serpent is in the vicinity to have his head crushed by that same heel that he bites.
Okay, I'm good.
Right? So when the serpent strikes the heel, now he's at a position where that seed can now crush the head of the serpent.
He's adding
when he inflicts a mortal wound
crazy.
To the heel of the seed, right?
Yes.
Okay, now watch how this ties in with the cross. When did the serpent inflict a mortal wound on the seed of Mary? The cross, right?
That's right.
But notice the cross was the means by which Jesus destroyed the power of Satan, right?
Right.
And did you notice that if you read John 19:17 or Matthew 27:33 or Mark 15:22, it says that Jesus was crucified on a hill that had the shape of a skull, Golgotha. Mm-hmm. When you saw his cross, it was on a hill, but the hill looked like a head.
Oh, wow.
Now this light switch went on.
Sam, can I briefly tell you something?
Yeah, please.
They sent me a link, and they're not lying. The man is losing his mind, screaming about me and you, and he's bleeding from the lips. He bit his mouth so hard that all his lips are crusted with blood, brother.
No way, bro.
It's a sight to behold, brother.
He's demonized.
I'm
Guys,
not lying. Sam, I'm not lying. I clicked the link. He's live with his lips full of blood.
All right, good. Guys, go clip that. Take a picture. See, guys, go see him manifest like a demon. The guy is manifesting. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Is piercing through the head, right?
Exactly.
So now how is that significant? Because the cross was Jesus's means of crushing the head of the serpent. So there you have a picture. There you have a picture of Jesus crushing the head of the serpent, because his cross is on top of the hill called Golgotha, because it's shaped like a skull. You make that connection?
Yep.
But how does it tie with Mary? Remember, it said, I will put hatred between you and the serpent, and between your seed and her seed, right?
Right.
Now, when Jesus is on the cross, Mary is there. And notice what he says. Woman, behold your son. And he says to John, behold your mother. There's the woman and the seed.
Mm-hmm.
Are you making the connection?
Yeah.
The woman and her seed. Well, here's her seed on the cross, but she's there at the cross, beholding the fruit of her womb, hanging on the tree of life, and she is now the mother of all living. Because what was Eve's name? And Eve in Genesis 3:20. What was Eve's name?
Eve in Genesis.
Eve, Chava, because she's the mother of all living.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Okay. So that's why this is Mother Mary.
It's not really her. It's picture of Mary, because she's the mother of all living, because she gave birth to the one who said, I am the resurrection and the life. I am the way, the truth, and the life.
And this is why it gets bad, because he attributes the resurrection power in everything that Jesus did to Mary. And that's why it's really bad. That's why it's horrible. Because you can't do that. Mary did what she was supposed to do. She gave birth. After that, she did her job. It was over. She's nothing is attributed to her after that. Everything is attributed to Jesus and the Father. That's it. Mary gets no credit for what Jesus does after Jesus came out of him, or after she raised him. None of that. And even he's going to try to say, like, oh, the wedding of Canaan, Mary decided when Jesus was going to start his ministry. No, that's not what happened. He did that at the request of his mother, just to honor his mother at the wedding. And that's it, bro. It was no thing as to where Mary decided, oh, you're going to start your ministry now. Like, no. No, not at all. That's bad. So yeah, let's continue to hear him say stuff.
Here's the mother of all living, the one who gave birth to the seed, who gives life to all, and all who believe in him are now the seed of this woman, the virgin.
It's so bad.
Okay, so now let me give you a final point why she's great.
So bad.
Look at her greatness. In John 2, see if I had time to unpack this. And brother, I hope I'm not taking too much time, because
not at all, brother. Not at all.
You take away too much.
If you start reading, I want you to count the days on your own, because I've done series. It's called Jesus in the Garden of Eden. Go watch the series. I think it was 8 parts. I went through this thoroughly, but I want to just show you the greatness of Mary. A passage that the Lord used to soften my heart to see. I was blind.
You still blind.
If you read John 1, start from 19. and you go to John 2. You count the days. When Jesus arrives at Cana, if you count the days, it's the 7th day. If you count, it says on the 3rd day he arrived. But if you look at the previous chapter, there are 4 other days. So if you add 4 and 3, that's 7, right?
Right.
But then it says the 3rd day. Notice 3rd day, and it's a wedding banquet. 3rd day, wedding. Jesus is raised on the 3rd day.
No,
And he is the bridegroom.
no, idiot, because he said he got the even Christianity teaches Jesus got up early Sunday morning, which is the first day. He got up after 3 days, the 3rd day from 3, counting 3, 1, 2, 3. He got up on that 3rd day, not the 3rd day of the week. This is so bad.
And we are the bride. So this is
No, we're not. If you read Revelation 21, it tells you exactly who's the bride. I don't know why Christians believe they're the bride of Christ. You're the body of Christ. You can't be Christ's body and his bride. Doesn't make any sense. Or you're the metaphorical body of Christ, right? Where is Revelation 21? Yeah, do KJV tripping. And I saw a new heaven and new earth, right? Here we go. Verse 2. And I saw a new heaven and new earth, for the first heaven and the first heaven were passed away, and there was no more sea, like as an ocean. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. The new city, Jerusalem, is the bride of Christ. We are not the bride of Christ.
It's a picture of Christ and the church. 3rd day, resurrection. The bridegroom is risen. He's alive. And so the bride celebrates and rejoices that the bridegroom lives. You hear me there?
Yes.
Okay, but it's also the 7th day, the day of rest. Now watch Mary's role. 7th day.
How is it the 7th and the 3rd day, bro? What are we doing right now?
Mary is there, and Jesus calls her woman again.
He's always
Is that
called her woman.
coincidence? Woman. Eve is called woman.
Right.
Jesus has always called his mother woman.
Woman. 7th day, right? And when was Adam and Eve placed in the garden? After God had finished creating Eve, and hence commencing the 7th day.
Wrong. And this is bad. This is why I read Jubilees to you. Because they weren't placed in the garden on the 7th day. That's what happens when you don't read the rest of scriptures, when you only read Genesis and you got to eisegete and juxtapose different things in the scripture just to get more fruit out of it. Just read Jubilees, bro. It tells you Adam was placed in the garden after his days of cleanliness, right? If you read Leviticus 12, it tells you why men and women have to wait a period of time before they're clean, before they can touch all the thing. When it's a baby, it's 7 days. When it's a female child, it's 2 weeks, because male is created in the first week, female is created in the second week. If the woman gives birth to a male, she's unclean for 40 days. If the woman gives birth to a female, she's unclean for 80 days, right? Adam was unclean for 40 days. He was created in the first week. Eve was unclean for 80 days. She was created in the second week. So this defeats your point. They weren't brought into the garden on the 7th day. No, that didn't happen. They weren't even created in the garden. So continue. More lies.
And on the 7th day, Adam and Eve were placed in the garden.
Right.
No,
I don't think you're getting it.
I'm not.
7th day, Adam and Eve are in the garden. Because when did God finish creation? After he created the woman. And he now entered his Sabbath day, 7th day. And on the 7th day, the first Adam and the first woman are in the garden. Here's the 7th day, and you have the last Adam and the woman celebrating at a wedding.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
There you go. You got it.
Okay.
Now did it go in?
Yes.
See, that's why I said you didn't catch it.
That's so bad. All right. I just wanted y'all to hear that so y'all can hear it and know, like, there's some stuff out here. Stay strong. 2 Timothy 2:15. I'll be seeing y'all. He is. If you hear this, then I know you speak to God. He is. Giving praise to the Father and the Son. He is. You not him if your demons never run. He is. Kingdom mom, man, I'm trying to save them all. He is. If you hear this, then I know you speak to God. He is. Giving praise to the Father and the Son. He is. You not him if your demons never run. He is. Kingdom mom, man, I'm trying to save them all. Yo, bust down my foundation. My whole team be with it. Rain Goku, fire, I spit it. Walk on water, I live it. If I fall, they say I'm a villain. And if I ball, they say I'm a villain. I'm not trying to die twice, please don't call me Krillin. If I had one wish, I'ma need a second. Take the gospel of the kingdom all the way to